Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. It's freaking Friday, and that feels so fine because you get to relax, hopefully play some more Switch games, and hopefully sleep in, which always hits the spot. I need a haircut desperately. I moved away from the place where I cut my hair, or where they cut my hair, and now I don't know what to do, but I do know that I got a great show for you, so we're gonna send you cruising to the weekend in style, talking all about, did Metroid Dread do it? Did Samus shoot straight to the top? We know exactly how many copies it sold. Plus, we know how successful the Switch OLED was at its launch, and we got some new game announcements that I am in love with. Plus, making a rare appearance on GMM is Halo, doing the unthinkable. This is so freaking cool, so I just have to share it with all of you. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. And hey, if your day isn't going so great, if your weekend looks to be shaping up kind of sucky, take a deep breath, reset, and just find like 2 or 3 things that you're really grateful for and try to start things going more positively. In the meantime though, hit that like button if you enjoy this show. Let me know your take on today's topics in the comments down below, and let's get rolling right into it. Many of you know how much I love the SteamWorld franchise on Switch. Some of the coolest indie games with the best style and the most genre flexibility. Those things are flipping around like a slippery eel you can't quite catch, but every time you do, you're like, oh, it's beautiful because their games are just brilliant. And now we know the next SteamWorld game, and it's making the jump into 3 dimensions. A little bit scary because the 2D titles have been so darn successful and so darn fun. This time they're going with a cooperative action-adventure title called SteamWorld Headhunter. Seems like there's gonna be some shooting, some head popping, and 3D. Now the team over there at Image & Form has practiced with 3D thanks to the Gunk, which is releasing exclusively on Xbox and PC next month this December. So they got their feet wet on what it means to do 3D. And now they're gonna try to bring the bots from SteamWorld into the new dimension. I am really pumped. There's no word on when this one's gonna come out, but you gotta imagine it will hit Switch since they've had so much success and such a friendly partnership with Nintendo, bringing all their other SteamWorld games to the platform. And they always do sales, they always do well, they always are great, and I think this one will get there as well. I hope we see it pop up at a Direct in 2022, and I hope we have a chance to play it sometime next year as well. I am absolutely ecstatic for SteamWorld Headhunter. If you haven't played SteamWorld yet, you should check them out on the eShop immediately, and let me know in the comments down below if you're pumped for this 3D co-op adventure. Speaking of successful 2D titles, Metroid Dread is something we've been very curious about. I mean, the game is fantastic and beloved by almost all the fans. How well would it sell? Its first opportunity to show its true stuff on Nintendo Switch, a platform that has elevated so many other franchises into the millions. And we now have the first numbers straight from the mouth of Bowser himself. Dougie B got out in front of the NPDs to tell us exactly how many copies this thing pumped out in the US. Now, Metroid Dread was the 3rd best-selling game overall in October, behind Far Cry 6 at number 1, Back 4 Blood at number 2, and then Samus herself at number 3. Doug Bowser says that the game sold 854,000 copies in the United States. Now, we believe that that is physical and digital. Nintendo typically doesn't report digital, but because Bowser's giving the figure, it seems like he combined the two. So nearly 1 million copies in October for Metroid Dread just in the States. That means it's well over 1 million copies worldwide. Plus, we know it started off strong in the UK, and it was the strongest start for any Metroid game ever, and the physical launch dollar sales of Metroid Dread doubled the physical launch dollar sales of Metroid Prime back in the day, which was the previous best Metroid launch. So this one is to the stars, at least in terms of Metroid standards. Now in terms of like Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, it's slowly chugging along, but you have to remember that Metroid is a series that hasn't sold very well ever. I mean, it's sold well enough, but nothing in comparison to Nintendo's tentpole characters and franchises. This is Samus's best chance to really get up there and achieve 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 million copies, and I sure hope it does it. I think with all the positive word of mouth, the fantastic reviews, and probably some Game of the Year nominations, this game will continue to sell and be one that spreads really well word of mouth wise as more and more players acquire their Switches and are looking for awesome games to play this holiday season. Now in terms of Ollie the OLED, the newest Nintendo Switch model, the little guy with the cool screen and not much else, but hey, that screen, like after playing with it for over a month now, like the screen really does make a cool difference. Anyways, it's $350. It's not a brand new piece of hardware per se, but it still helped vault Nintendo back to the top spot in console sales. You might remember that last month, PlayStation usurped Nintendo for the first time in 33 months, stealing the crown, but Nintendo didn't let them have it for all too long. They took it back and pumped out 711,000 Switch units in October, of which 314,000, almost 50%, were Switch OLEDs. Doug Bowser lets us know that that is only 3% lower than last October, which had a super strong sales month because everyone was picking up Switches to play during the pandemic. And this October was pretty darn great as well. And the OLED, he says, is off to a strong start. Nothing crazy, but again, this is a half step or even quarter step type upgrade. So I didn't expect it to sell like gangbusters, but as the holidays approach, I'm sure those numbers will continue to roll. Y'all let me know in the comments down below if you have picked up an OLED, if you're planning to pick up an OLED, or if you're getting an OLED for someone else this holiday season. I'd love to kind of see our take on the system. Like I said, I love it, but it isn't necessary. It's just really pretty. All right, it's a rare moment. Something not Nintendo has crawled its way into the show, but this is so darn cool, and there's a little bit of a Nintendo tie for me, so I have to bring it to your attention because Halo Infinite is out December 8th, right? That's what we've been told. One of my most anticipated games. I think the gameplay is great. I got to play in some of the technical tests. The multiplayer is awesome, and the campaign looks a heck of a lot better than it did in 2020. Still wishing for Halo on Switch. This one definitely isn't it, but there's been some really cool rumors because Monday is the 20th anniversary of the franchise and the 20th anniversary of the Xbox, and Microsoft has something planned so cool. I don't know if Nintendo has ever even topped this, and the only way they could top it is by like stealthing Breath of the Wild 2 out during the Game Awards. Like boom, you can play it. Imagine the uproar if you could just play Breath of the Wild 2 randomly one day, just download it and go. Because it looks like that's what Microsoft is doing with Halo on Monday. We now have many different leakers and insiders reporting that Microsoft is about to stealth drop Halo multiplayer almost a month early. And one of those reports comes from Nate Drake, who you know we always talk about here because he always has really cool Nintendo scoops. Nate Drake says, what better way to celebrate the anniversary of the Xbox than with a birthday surprise? I can independently confirm and share with you today that Halo Infinite multiplayer will be made available Monday, November 15th. Suit up, Spartans. Now this is so stinking cool to surprise everybody with something more than like, I don't know, a Twitter hashtag emoji. That's usually what happens on these anniversaries. Don't even get me started on the Zelda anniversary. Why didn't they stealth drop a sweet Zelda game on the anniversary? That would have been incredible. Now, this works out because the multiplayer for Halo is free. If it was a paid thing, they probably wouldn't do it this way, but because the multiplayer component is free, and because Halo Infinite campaign is on Game Pass already, they have more wiggle room, and they have more different strategies to play around with. Heck, I wonder if this was the plan all along, that Microsoft was saving a super special surprise for Halo fans and Xbox faithful to give them something early, before the holidays, before Thanksgiving, before all of that, boom, you can play it. Now you also know that the servers are going to be crushed, so this gives them a lot of time to really work that out before the box product is on store shelves on December 8th. But this is freaking crazy. I've never seen a game of this magnitude, of this much cultural prominence, do something this wild. We've seen some stuff like come out, like a DLC or a new character. They've done really crazy reveals for like Apex Legends. If you remember when that game first came out, it was just boom. Influencers have played it and now it's here. But Halo? That's a game that usually gets a super long marketing cycle. In the case of Infinite, has had like a 4-year marketing cycle or something. I mean, this game was supposed to come out last fall and now it's finally here, and it's really almost here because Monday, it sure seems like y'all, if you have an Xbox or a PC, are gonna get to play Halo Infinite multiplayer nearly a month early. I know it's not on Switch, but I just thought this was such a cool thing in gaming, and I'd love for Nintendo to borrow it. Wouldn't you be amazed if instead of like an indie game or a passport popping out at a direct, they were like, yo, we got this brand new big game, play it. Or if they're like, oh my gosh, Splatoon 3 multiplayer, the campaign's gonna be super sick. You've already seen some preview footage of that, but the multiplayer, it's out now. Go get on it. That would be amazing. Let me know if you're pumped about Halo in the comments down below, and if you'd love for Nintendo to borrow and do something super cool just like this. Well, my friends, that'll do it for the show and for the week. We defeated it. We beat it. And another awesome set of 5 GMMs is in the bag. I hope you had fun with me this week, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. I'll be back with you next week for more Nintendo awesomeness. In the meantime, though, Thanks again. I love you a lot. Hit that like button if you can on your way out. And until next time, Switch Force out.